Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Gemini. If Gemini is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, then this is a message for you. All right, let's get started. And so our card tonight, Gemini, is the Princess of Cups. Okay, and let's take a look and see what these tea leaves have to say. And so if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit that little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. It is free to subscribe. And also, if you would be so kind as to like the video, it really does help the channel. And also, if you want to leave a comment. I know, I hate doing these things at the beginning. I know. But I do have to mention them. And also, I just want to mention, my husband has a wonderful tarot channel. Go check him out. Dove and Serpent Tarot. His name is Paul. He is very talented indeed. Okay, let's get started. So I have this reoccurring formation here. So on this side, it looks like we have a person kind of sitting here, right? Here's the body, the legs, the head is back. I almost imagine kind of, well, and it looks like it's repeated here as well. A person with they're kind of in this same reclined posture, looking up. Now I'm seeing that we have kind of these, I almost imagine they're kind of emanations. They are, what's the word? Apparitions of some kind. Streaks in the sky, you know, the northern lights, or some kind of visions, seeing things. But it's almost kind of, it's not scary, because immediately I thought, well, maybe it's like shadow people, or you know, when you're like at night, right, and you wake up and you look and you think, oh my gosh, there's somebody in my room, what is that? And you turn on the light and it's a pile of clothes, right, sitting on your chair. Okay, and it's kind of this illusion that happens in the dark. But no, I feel like this is kind of, yeah, it's like you're having, I think that you almost consider this almost like daydreams. Like, I'm just like a really imaginative person. I like to daydream a lot. I have, you know, I'm in the shower, I'm having conversations and arguments and scenarios that I'm making up, and I get really immersed in that, you know, kind of like that, right? But I think that this really is that you are somebody who is prone to receiving information. And that is that maybe you are a medium. Maybe you are somebody who can channel. You're somebody who maybe that is a natural diviner. And you don't necessarily realize that, right? Until you put it in that context. You might think, here's the thing for me is I've always said, I'm just really good at reading people. Right? I grew up in a household where there was addiction. And so, right, being around that energy, especially at a really young age, you get very adapted at reading people's behaviors, their moods. Is this going to shift into, you know, fighting or arguing, or you know, dramatics, and are the people around me safe? And, you know, you just, yeah. And so I've always thought, yes, it's because I grew up around that. I'm really just very vigilant, maybe paranoid to some degree, but also just, I watch people. I'm always watching what people are doing, how they're moving. And, that's what I chalked it up to for many years. I found, though, as I put that energy into, right, doing things like tea leaf readings or there are other kinds of readings I do, and dream analysis and, whatever else. I realized that, I think it's a combination of things. Some of us are just really, we have our one foot in the other place, right? In that borderland. And then the other foot in the material world. And we exist in both, and it merges together. And you kind of become acutely aware of that. And I think that, that makes sense to me as you being a Gemini. You absolutely, if it's not that there are twins, it is that there are kind of that, have you ever seen the imagery of the person and then their astral body, right? They're kind of celestial twin. Gemini is just predisposed to having these connections to the divine, to the other side, to the, variety of realms and realities that kind of coexist together. And sometimes you cannot really necessarily tell which is which and which belongs where, right? And so I look at this and I'm thinking, you're somebody who's seeing some things. You are feeling some things. You are probably having visitations. It might even be that you consider this kind of, like a person that is having contact with aliens or ghosts or, some kind of entity or intelligence. You maybe are somebody who has partaken in plant medicine or, things that have kind of altered your experience within reality and kind of escaping reality, if you know what I mean. And I think that this really makes you such a natural practitioner, or you have all of the tools there, right, to really become some kind of practitioner. So if you are somebody who has not found your technique or your the thing that really you connect with, and I'm thinking of this as like, maybe scrying in mirrors or gazing into water, or maybe even reading tea leaves or tarot cards or geomancy, or there's as many ways to divine as you can imagine, as you can think of. If you can think it up, you could probably make it work, So I think that, this is a good place because I think you're really in this very potent place of experiencing these phenomena, right? Finding something that maybe, might work for you. Now, one thing that I think is fun and interesting and maybe a good place for people to start is using the pendulum. And they make these boards. I got one from, I don't even know. I think it was like AliExpress or whatever, one of these companies like this. And it's just a little piece of wood that has all of the, the yes, the no, the zodiac signs, the, dates and numbers and letters and things. It's all on this board, and you hold the pendulum over it, and you take note of where it is kind of drawn to. Now you can watch other YouTube videos about how to do this more precisely, but I think that things like this are a good intro, because if you just get right into tarot, you know, there's a lot of studying that kind of goes along with learning the cards and the archetypes and how they interact and all this, and that can be kind of daunting, right? So I feel like it's you know, it might be worth trying something, or even, you know, I know, you know, they still produce like Ouija boards and stuff like that. That might be something interesting to try. But I feel like there is really this potent connection you have to the unseen. Absolutely. And so now when we turn it, we have once again, no, where did it go? How did it go? We have once again somebody lying on their back, kind of gazing upwards, and now I don't see it, but I will. Once I find it again, I'll shout it out. But yeah, so in that gazing, it really does. It reminds me of Edgar Cayce, which this guy who was, I don't know what you would call it, channeler, I guess. He would go into like a hypnagogic state, and he would be able to, you know, do like fortune telling and prophesize and these kinds of things for people. And he would have people that would make the pilgrimage to go see him, and he would lie down on a couch, and I think, now I might be just kind of putting these together as how I imagine it in my mind, but I think that they would like come in and ask him questions, or maybe he had somebody like a, you know, an assistant that would take the questions and they would read them and then dictate, you know, or write down what he was saying. He would just kind of have a stream of consciousness coming out. And I think, man, I hope, I need to try that, because I would love to be able to be in a repose state like that and reading for somebody. That would be really nice. So I kind of think of it as like being in this place where you are in between sleep and wakefulness. And that might be, you know, a realm of daydream. It might be right before you're going to sleep at night and you have these very potent visions happening. So let's see. We also have two people. This one looks like the Emperor. We also have a bird behind them. Over here we have a person with a heart. And so I do feel like this is maybe a love connection you have. It feels like there's kind of a dynamic of this being somebody, almost like you fell in love with your boss, right? Or somebody who was like a manager, or at least somebody that you felt a lot of respect for, and maybe you're like a little bit of intimidation. But I don't think it's, I'm not saying this is like a power dynamic thing. Maybe you didn't even work for them anymore. You knew them personally. You know, I don't think it's kind of that. Like it's, you know, something that shouldn't happen at work, which, you know, I won't get into that, down that rabbit hole. But I do feel like this is like somebody who, yeah, they just seemed like really together. Like you look at them and you think, oh my gosh, that person really knows what they're doing. They just are commanding and charming and very much that emperor vibe. Also, though, kind of lonely, right? There's kind of a sadness. But I feel like this is somebody that you absolutely are in love with. And I almost wonder if you have pursued them. Maybe this is who you're married to. Maybe you've been married for like 40 years, right? And you're the one that really pursued them. And now, you know, I don't know if you are a woman watching this, although my demographic chart thing says that most of my people here that are watching are women. So I imagine it could almost be kind of a situation where it was a little uncouth, right? To be going after the boss, or, you know, trying to get a date with the manager or whatever. But I think that you just are absolutely kind of smitten. And maybe it is, like I said, you've been together for a long time, or maybe this is a new thing. Maybe this is something that is kind of emerging, you know. But I think that you are in it, right? You're in that place. And now it could be a crush. It could be that this is something that never is actualized, but I think it feels good right now, right? I think that you are... I'm not going to say you're a sucker for love, but I do think you're somebody who loves to be in love. And if that is with somebody that you can build a life with, then that's a wonderful thing, right? You're very lucky. If it's somebody that, you know, you get to know and it doesn't really work out, that's okay. You know, we all need our love adventures, right? And if it's a situation where it's never going to happen, yeah, there's something almost divine about unrealized love. I mean, really, go look at all of the poetry out there. Go look at all the love poems. There's so many about unrequited love or unrealized love. And that's really the big thing. I don't think it's so much unrequited as it is unrealized. And I think that this is a place where you are kind of really in a potent configuration. This isn't like, okay, so I'm from, I'm from Cali, but I live in the northern Midwest. It's very cold here for many months. But once you get around like February, that is deep winter. That is cabin fever season. That is when everybody kind of walks around looking like a zombie. Absolutely. And you're just kind of depleted. I don't know how else to explain it. And this is the opposite of that, right? I feel like this is like you are fully ripe with love. You are absolutely stars in the eyes, right? And I think that this is why you're having such involved kind of, you know, spiritual events happening. I think that this is also why you're so in tune with spirit, because you're not in a state of kind of worrying about this, worrying about that, lamenting and groaning and angry and, you know, just kind of the regular stuff that we go through. Oh, traffic again. And they don't have my, you know, soy milk at the grocery store, which dang it, it seems like they never do anymore. I go and I'm amazed when they have the right soy milk, dang it. You know, but it's like, yeah, all that kind of stuff, but it's not even fazing you. You know, you're in love. You have these real kind of, you know, I'm just imagining like walking around on clouds, you know, and just kind of smiling and enjoying and excitement and yeah, it just, it is. And so if you are together for a long time, you know, I think you're going through a period of time here where you're really connecting. You're absolutely connecting. And that's an exciting thing. I think that's something that you've been hoping would kind of reemerge. And you've put in the work to do so. You know, whenever you're in a relationship that lasts a lot of years, you quickly learn that you can't just wait around for things to feel amazing. Yeah, you have to kind of, you know, work towards it. You have to decide almost daily, right? I love this person. I'm going to do all the things that I can to foster a relationship that is growing and thriving and all of that. It doesn't just like fall into your lap and stay that way, right? We get out of those initial, you know, kind of fairy tale honeymoon phases, and we get into the nitty gritty. You know, you start to maybe have shared assets and children or grandchildren and animals and responsibilities and you know, things going on in life that maybe sometimes are difficult, and you have to decide like, hey, I'm going to be a good partner. Hey, I'm going to allow this person to, you know, really be involved and help me and communicate and kind of, and it's not even just like I'm pulling my weight, right? That I'm where everything is shared so equally. No, it's deciding that, you know, I love and honor this union, this relationship. And so I'm going to put my best foot forward as much as I can. And when I can't, you know, I have somebody that hopefully will step up and be there for me, just like I would be for them when they're struggling or they have something going on. And, you know, that's not always easy. It's not always easy, but, you know, then you get into places like this where it's like, you know, it is worth working hard for it. You know, it feels good. Feels good to, you know, have those really kind of charmed seasons together. Now, we have a volcano that has a little bit of smoke coming off of it. And over here we have, it looks like a house. And it feels like somebody coming to visit. Stay with you possibly. And I feel like this is a welcome thing, but my goodness, does it get old quickly? I feel like there's just annoyance here. I feel like you're really not, it's not that you're afraid to like have boundaries and have house rules and, you know, within reason. But I think it's just kind of, it's hard for you to adapt to being around somebody that you're not used to being around like all the time, right? Sharing space with them. And in this particular person, I think it's on your nerves. I almost wonder if this is like a younger spouse or I mean, not spouse, a younger sibling, a younger sibling, or maybe just like a sibling or a friend who has a really hard time getting it together, right? And you love them and you want to help them, but they show up and they stay and they, you know, end up making messes or, you know, eating your special cereal that, you know, you need for your diet or your digestion or something, right? And it's like, you know, you told them, don't eat that thing. I need that. Or if you do, let me know if it's getting close to empty and they don't tell you. And I feel like there's just this kind of annoyance rising, maybe kind of a restlessness, or I don't know. It doesn't feel like you're too excited about the prospect of them being there for very much longer. So, you know, I don't know what to tell you about that. I understand. I'm not great at house guests. So I usually we never have them really. My niece comes and stays with us, but she's she's here so often that it feels like she just, you know, it's normal. We're over all of the, you know, getting used to having her here. But other than that, I don't know. I don't know that I could really do well hosting people for too long. I like my privacy. Now, Gemini, you're a little more adaptable than us Virgos, so I think maybe you have a little more ability to access those, you know, just calming energies that you have within self. But my goodness. All right, so we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna flip through. I'm going to stop where it feels right. And it says, oh, Diamond Heart. This one loves to come out lately. I am worthy. My life is valuable beyond measure. I invite blessings to flow into my day. My Diamond Heart is deserving of all good things. My Diamond Heart is deserving of all good things. Yes. All right. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, Gemini, I love you because I do. I do. And I thank you so much for spending this time with me. It is always such an honor to be able to bring these messages to you. And if you would be so kind as to like the video, it really does help the channel. And if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit that little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. It is free to subscribe. And what else? Yes, if you want to leave a comment, please do. I read them all, especially if you're new to the channel. Shout it out in the comments. Also, yeah, check your other placements. Watch your other videos. Do some cross-watching. All of the good stuff. All right, Gemini, I love you. Take care of yourself. We'll talk in a few days. Good night, good night, good night.